Hi guys, the Conservatives and their supporters are deeply concerned about a ban on second jobs. Some of them have got used to a very comfortable lifestyle where they pop into Parliament from time to time and then write an article for the Telegraph or the Express for a few £100. But more are worried about their ability to make tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds in the private sector will be damaged, but also how it will cut them off from their ability to be corrupted by business as a consequence of being close to power. However, some Tories don't want to come out and directly attack the idea because that would make them look bad, so they found an alternative route: Nigel Farage.
Back to Dan for a few more ideas about what exactly MPs should stop doing, drawing the line. But should they have second jobs?
Let's just be honest. You are threatened by Nigel Farage and you're trying to get him off the TV so he doesn't have a big platform. That's what you're doing.
I don't feel threatened by Nigel Farage.
Well, you should.
But do you think MPs should have second jobs?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's doctors, there's nurses, there's people in society that are really valuable. And I think MPs being part of that is absolutely essential.
Okay. Look, MPs already have a job. Their job is to represent their constituents. If they're in opposition, their job is to hold the government to account. So they already have a job. Why do they need a second job? Because we keep hearing about how politicians are overworked. They have too much to do. They, in many cases, can't hold surgeries because they're snowed under with work in Parliament. They have to attend committees. They have to do all sorts of jobs in Parliament. So how can they come out after and say, well, I actually have time to do, write articles for the Express or the Daily Mail, or I have time to dedicate to a company, to work on the board of a company. Now, when it comes to doctors and nurses, these can't be exceptions. There has to be one rule for everyone. That rule is no second jobs. Because as soon as you create an exception, people will say, well, I'm actually a type of doctor or I'm a type of nurse and I work for a company. People will find ways around the problem. So what you do is you close those loopholes. You say there is no second jobs. If you're not earning enough, go and work in the private sector. Do something else. If you have to maintain some sort of profession like a doctor, lawyer, whatever, you can't be a politician. There can't be these types of exceptions. Now, I find it interesting that she mentioned Nigel Farage here. And look, none of this makes sense because we've been talking about second jobs long before Nigel Farage became an MP. But is Labour concerned about Nigel Farage? Sure they are. Who wouldn't be concerned about Nigel Farage? His party won a significant amount of the vote in the last election. But this is not about Nigel Farage. There's no justification, no rational justification for allowing MPs to hold a second job. They do it in many cases because they like to have a comfortable lifestyle, pop into Parliament from time to time and then write an article about what you were talking about in Parliament. Some of them work in the media. They would like to keep those jobs. They're in the case of Reform UK MPs, they're paid more for their media appearances than being an MP. Where is their priority there? Is it their constituents, or is it the people who are paying them massive wages in the media? So the priority has to be the constituents. If they don't want to prioritise their constituents, then they need to do something else. There's also the issue of corruption. Many MPs want to have a cushy job in the private sector when they finish their time in Parliament. So they maintain contact with businesses. Maybe they offer certain services, lobbying, for example, on behalf of businesses. Sometimes they work for these companies. Sometimes they offer services to these companies, knowing that when they quit Parliament, when they end their time in Parliament, they will find a very lucrative job, well-paying job in the private sector. This is what it's all about. It's not about representing their constituents or fighting on their behalf. It's about feathering their own nests. And that has to end. There's no justification for that. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.